Hello, beautiful souls. So this is going to be episode 3 of the Order of the Blue Rose 2.0 revamped for today's Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. Today is the focus of how does the Divine Masculine get woven into the virtues of the Order of the Blue Rose? How does it help today's Divine Masculine navigate the path? I do hope that this helps you. I'm going to start by giving you some of my own lived experiences as I've been part of this union, a reunion with Lucian, and what we have learned firsthand, which I want to say it didn't surprise me, but it did. It shocked me. It shocked me to the level that we found it. So this sheer volume of controlling overlays and distortions that have been placed in the path of the divine masculine and divine feminine that is on a twin flame soulmate twin soul reunion path. If you're in that journey, many times you will feel that it's futile. You feel that there are so many forces working against the two to come together, or you get resolved in the divine timing loop. The divine, oh, it's not time yet. When it'll happen when it's time. And I did believe that until I began living it. And I started to detect and burn away these distortions, negative loops, and overlays that were I literally put in our path to delay our reunion, because many of our ancestors, many of our fellow humanity at the time, this all came from past lives. They were afraid, for one reason or another, of the sacred divine unions coming together because of events of the past. They did not trust that there could possibly be in this dimension a healed, balanced divine masculine and a healed, balanced divine feminine coming together, being in union, and the whole freaking world not collapsing. I shit you not. Like, that was their fear. And so they exercised their free will, but in doing so, overreached our free will. And that has created like a cobweb effect of almost infinite, never ending distortions, overlays, and negative loops that the entire purpose of them is to seed doubt, to seed distortion, to seed mistrust, misinformation, and to stall. The overall result is to stall that divine masculine, divine feminine from coming together. It has been, there's times where I've communicated with Sophia, Mother Sophia, about this, and we can track back the source of a specific distortion or overlay, and she'll say things like, I banished them from that dimension a million years ago. That's how old some of these are. So let's get into it. Many of the, like I said before, many of them are beings that had power in previous lifetimes that we had. Many of you have also had Lemuria, Atlantis, Arthurian, the times of the Scottish Highlands, and all of that. And so it was their opinion that there could be no divine masculine, divine feminine in the sacred realm, but also in the dimension of 3D, 4D Earth, that could possibly heal, evolve, and balance themselves to reunite into a sacred union, a twin soul, soulmate, twin flame relationship, and not wreak havoc on everyone else. So this is where I literally went toe to toe with everyone: Source, Sophia, Metatron, Atlas, many entities and beings. And I said, who do you think you are today to be so hypocritical, to be like, oh no, we honor free will choice whenever someone's making a free will choice that pulls them off their path of ascension? They're all about honoring the free will choice then. But at the same time, They are allowing other people's decisions to encroach upon my free will choice and his free will choice to unite over things that happened a millennia ago. We have burned through a lot of this. And the good news is that as we burn through it, it burns through them all. The one, we are for better or for worse, we are the couple chosen to forge this path. So we're knocking the trees down. We're clearing the way for you to come behind us. But it has to be reconciled. Like every being that's on this journey really does have to reconcile the truth of what you're dealing with. This is not romance. This is not to be made light of. This is not a love story or a fairy tale. This is literally light and dark, waging a war to see who's going to win out. So as they see doubt, as they loop the unworthiness, as they enforce the not yet wrapped up in a bow of divine timing, it is super disappointing, depressing, frustrating, and yet just propelled me to go, okay, let me pull back. Let me go back to being less emotional. And let me look at this. Knowing what I know, knowing what all they have done to keep us from getting to this exact point in time, what is their end game? Well, their end game is that you get so dismayed and confused you can't find your way out of the corridor that you're in. You can't find your way to that divine feminine and be clear. And so I just used what I have acquired in this life and my other, previous lives in terms of skills, discernment, abilities, and gifts that I'm like, okay, I know my gifts. I know my abilities. I know my path. I know what my purpose is. No one else gets to have a say in that. All those that are overstepped and overreached, you need to back up. And I'm going to clear this out. But this is the kicker. Most of the things that we cleared out were repeating. So every time we cleared the path, usually within 3 to 15 minutes, it would drop back in. It was on a negative loop to repeat and drop back in. So we're talking about the same distortion, the same overlay that was just cleared and reconciled, and then boom, there it would be again. And so I recognized the pattern, and the pattern was going to keep repeating to infinity unless the source was taken care of. So then I said, okay, well, I've done this before. I've tracked the source of the negative energy, and then the source of that gets taken to Source and Mother Sophia to have their justice, their consequences. Because again, love is the key and compassion opens the door. I am not trying to go to battle with all these beings who decided for us that we could not reunite. I don't like what they did, but I'm going to send them love. And I'm going to send them gratitude for showing me the truth of the matter. I'm going to give them forgiveness because the situation when they created these things was not what it is today. And at some level, I can see why they had doubts, but it really wasn't for them to overstep. And then let it go, because I don't want to have that negative energy in my being while we're trying to create something beautiful in our reunion. And so it's not my battle to take upon, but it is for me to discern what is my truth and what is my path. What's my next step? What is in my highest and best to remain sovereign, to not give my power up, to not let them disempower me over lies, over things that are not really truth of the situation today. So as these again were burned away through our mutual flame, I would discern it. I would confirm it. I would confirm that it was also attached. Whatever I found attached to him was attached to me. Whatever was attached to me was also attached to him. And we just kept clearing it out of the way. And again, good news. The more that we cleared and burned away, then they dissolve, because I took the source of that energy, and they were taken to Creator Source and Mother Sophia, and they were, I don't want to say forced, but they were shown that energy and those distortions and those overlays were no longer warranted, that they were an overreach and a disconnect to unity consciousness, to step on someone's free will. And so then they were removed. In doing that, it lets us really clear the way for the divine feminine and divine masculine to come behind us. And that's really the focus of what this video is. So we are now going to show how the divine masculine can weave these virtues of the Order of the Blue Rose into their day-to-day life in order to enmesh themselves, embody the principles, the virtues of the Order of the Blue Rose, the same as the divine feminine. And so it causes a bridge of healing, a bridge of forgiveness, a bridge of love, a bridge of compassion and kindness that, honestly, the divine feminine has their trauma of their existence, but the divine masculine has a lot of trauma too. And it does get overlooked or glossed over because we're coming out of this patriarchal system. And so there are some that like to lump all the men together in one pot and say, you're all evil. I don't subscribe to that. I think that there's always been good and bad in every group, category, space, race, everything. There's good and bad in all. That's how we have duality planet, if you think about it. So I send love, forgiveness, and gratitude to all the divine masculines to stand in your truth. Figure out what that truth is and stand in it. Hold your flame close to your heart chakra. Reconcile those shadows and then ascend with us. If you're going through this, especially if you're a divine masculine, please drop a comment. I want to hear from you. I know the journey is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is absolutely worth it. All the frustrating moments that we've had have been absolutely worth it. Because as I've always said, perfection does not exist, but to go through so many lives, so much torment, so much oppression, so much abuse, so much trauma, what was that for? Well, it wasn't just to survive. It was to thrive together as a couple, as a powerful, sacred couple who you're not just together for each other, which we are, but we're together for humanity. We're together for the universe to be positive. And I'll never apologize for that. So if you have not already seen part 1 and part 2 of the Order of the Blue Rose 2.0, please check those out. This is part 3. We're going to go virtue by virtue and show how it can be woven in to the divine masculine. So radical empathy pulls in from the Blue Rose virtue, and you add that to sacred strength, which is pulled from the divine masculine archetype. And you get radical empathy, fostering the collective healing, paired with this sacred strength, which is the protective force that supports love. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Together, they create this nurturing but grounded presence, embodying the divine feminine's heart with the divine masculine stability. So how can you make this part of your day-to-day ritual practice? Heart anchored protection. So you ground outdoors. Everything is better with grounding. Trust me. So if you're new to this, just get in the habit of maybe 5-10 minutes every day, whether it's raining or windy or cold or whatever. Take your shoes and socks off and put your feet on the ground with no devices, no music, no nothing, just you and Mother Earth, and ground your energy and see how much better you feel, how much more clarity you have. But every single practice to embody this always starts with grounding. So ground outside, touch the earth, either palm to the earth, or hands in water. If you're in the rain, you have your feet in the rain, that's perfect. You can touch a tree, pick up a rock, whatever's around you, connect with it. Visualize a soft petal of blue hue. That is the empathy. Merging with the silver blue light, that is the strength in your heart. And you want to say, I hold space for love and strength, and send that out to someone. Maybe you know someone specifically. Maybe you just want to send it out to the collective. It's whatever's in your heart to do. That's fine. And you can say, may you feel safe and loved. You know, it's an affirmation for you, but it's a practice of sharing that from your energy body that really kind of steps you out of your comfort zone. And you want to just protect your energy by calling in Saint Germain's violet flame to clear the space. You can do that before or after. And then when you're done, when you've set your time, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is, when you're done, just a quick hum to seal it in whatever tone you want. The compassion is the actual strength of understanding. Today's divine masculine no longer, or should not any longer, equate power with hardness. Compassion turns insight into protection rather than dominance. It's the ability to hold another's pain without losing your center. A warrior's heart tempered by empathy. And to embody again, you want to be active listener, where you are in presence with them, not trying to fix things, not trying to be perfect or shame them for not being perfect. You want to just have a space where they can feel like they can tell you their truth, how they feel. And you're just actively listening. You're taking it in with calm eyes. You want to witness their sharing with you, absent of judgment. Sound like something you can do? If you're hearing this right now and you're like, I've never even once done that, you can do it. It just takes some shadow work to get there. If you're hearing me right now and this is something that you're already doing, kudos to you. Let's keep going. Embodied discernment comes from the blue rose, and conscious presence pulls from the divine masculine. That embodied discernment, blending intuition with critical awareness, aligns with consciousness, and the presence focuses action with clarity. So this is the fusion that empowers wise decision making in a complex world. How much more complex could our world get? I hate to ask. So the ritual practice again begins with grounding outside. Visualize an indigo petaled discernment. So this is an indigo deep color of the crown and the third eye, merging with the steel blue light of presence. Ask, what truth guides my mission? And then you can wait for the answers to come in. Depends on what your clair abilities are. We all have them. My strongest clair ability is cognizant. Things just drop into my being. I just know them. But I'm also clairaudient and clairvoyant. But you can also auto write. You can just start to journal so you're bypassing the brain and the ego, and you're journaling from your energy body. And you ask the question and you just start writing what's coming through. You're not really thinking about it. This isn't a composition. You're just auto writing. And you will be amazed at how much clarity can come whenever you bypass the ego and the mind. So whenever you feel like you've completed that, you've either received your answer that you feel comfortable, or you're done writing, then just close with an intentional breath. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds, and then close with a hum. The wisdom is the fire tempered by time. Wisdom is the steady flame of discernment. It asks, what serves growth, not the ego? Seeking truth over being right. It's realizing that triggers are needed to be healed. I've said this many, many times, that when we get triggered, it's like a pin dot, a map dot on your soul map. It's where a wound is that is wanting to be healed. So a trigger is to be looked at within yourself. It's not to go and attack the person that triggered you, because it's not their trigger, it's yours. So you give gratitude to them because they triggered you, and then you go, oh, I have work to do. Let me get serious. Let me look within. Why did that upset me? Why did that trigger me? What is it about that actual event that ties to me? And then go there and lean into it and feel the pain and feel the hurt and feel the original wound, and you heal it with love, forgiveness, and gratitude. The embodiment cue is sitting in silence for a moment before you respond. Learning from feminine intuition, where when a woman is silent, there's a lot happening. And the earth and lived consequences. So when you weave together our intuition, conscious presence, discernment, and humility, you can find your way through the wound of a trigger, heal it, let it go completely, forgiving all parties involved, and move beyond that to a higher evolved state. This is a self-truth of ours. With all the healing that we've done, we see that it comes in layers. You will heal a layer, and as soon as you release that layer, up surfaces more. So it's like the slow healing of a wound. A scab forms, you debride the scab, it gets a little smaller, but the scabs form again, right? And so this is a layered process. This is the same thing as your shadows and your woundings. Many times I have had it in my own life where I discover a wound, remember a wound, and then I take the top layer off and I think I'm feeling really good about it. And then within a few moments, hours, depends on what's happening, the next layer, the deeper layer comes up, and it's more raw and it's more sensitive. And I'm like, okay, there's more to it. So then I go through that with LFG, love, forgiveness, gratitude. And I keep going, also realizing the more I heal that wound within me, I am helping to heal that wound within the divine masculine, but not if I don't communicate it. I mean, you can only mirror that healing so much, especially if it's a negative loop that they're feeding into. They need to be consciously aware. So if it's an opportunity for me to say, I discovered blah, 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 and I know it came from a life where it was you and I doing blah, blah, blah. And so this is what I've worked through to let that go and to heal that. If I can help support your healing of that as well, then that means it releases from both of us cleanly. And of course, they have the free will choice to go, yeah, let's dig into that. Let's be done with it. Or maybe later, or I don't have that. So if it's the latter answer, then obviously there's still more work to be done there. But it's the opportunity to discern healing and growth, which is above and beyond the ego. So the ego is not going to let anyone heal because it's in the wounding and the fear and the pain and the shame and the guilt and the blame and frustration and judgment that the ego still has power. And you want to take your power back from that lower vibrational state and move beyond it. Well, the way to do that is to shut the ego up and go, your advice and guidance has left me in a place of perpetual pain where I'm always getting triggered because I'm not healing this. And I no longer want to be triggered. So I'm not going to listen to that anymore. I'm going to face my fear. I'm going to lean into this healing, and we're going to go for it. We're going to completely heal this wound. We're going to keep debriding the scabs until there's no more wound left. We're going to really let that go. That's how you do it. Next, vulnerable authenticity pulled from the blue rose plus authentic leadership. That is a divine masculine trait. So the divine integration of these two qualities is demonstrated by sharing truth openly while exhibiting authentic leadership. And that is whenever you guide from a heart space. You're courageous and you're leading, but you're not cold and indifferent. It's from the heart space. It's not from the ego. It's not from the mind. This creates the powerful, transparent presence that is required. How do you do this? Start with grounding. But this time you want to light a candle that represents your flame. Visualize a vibrant blue petal of authenticity. at your throat, and it's merging with this blue light of leadership around your solar plexus. It's giving you the confidence. And you want to say this affirmation: I lead with my truth. Sovereignty is the root of presence. Sovereignty isn't isolation, it's self authority, and it's joined with accountability. And in order to get there, you have to do a certain measure of shadow work. You can't just be like, yep, I'm sovereign and I have authority. Because the first time you get triggered by someone challenging that, you're gonna, like, it's over with. Like, there's no need to try to defend that. There, it's undefendable. They're gonna be like, okay, back to the shadow work line. But the balanced divine masculine can stand tall in his own frequency and honor the web of life as he moves within it, as he does shadow work all along the way. When you don't look at shadow work like a checklist, but as a part of your daily embodiment, you can cut through it really quickly. You can LFG things on the fly. Like, not every single thing requires hours and hours and hours of like meditation and self-reflection and whatever. Cause again, like I said, it's a layering. So it takes a lot of that to get to the first layer. But now you're getting to the second layer, like, well, I'm right here. I've just done it. So let's just LFG it. I'm not harboring any kind of ill will toward anyone involved in this. Let's just keep going. I reconcile what happened. I see that there was a deeper a cut here. I'm still going to extend love, forgiveness, and gratitude to everyone so that we can all heal and move on. So that's where you want to be. For us, there was an obsession born out of the archetype plus the expectation that he had encountered many, many, many times by Lucian, with perfection. He would hesitate before the next step because he was trying to create the perfect scenario for the next step. This was a negative loop that he kept getting pulled into. But he had a really understandable reason why. And it's because for so much of his existence, he was expected to arrive perfect or result in trauma. And so that is just a self-preservation mechanism. Like, let me see if I can dot every I, cross every T, think about every possible outcome before I'm even there, so we can try to avoid this traumatic fallout, which I have gone through many, many times. So for him, we had to tear down that distortion over and over and over and over again and just emphasize the presence, because I kept telling him, it doesn't matter how you arrive, it only matters that you arrive. And in that moment when we are united, that is perfect, because it's perfect for me and it's perfect for you. But perfection doesn't actually exist. It's a negative time loop. It's a negative construct. Keep us disempowering ourselves, giving time, energy, money away to things that make us perfect, and perfect doesn't exist. Perfection is an illusion. So the daily grounding with clear boundaries and kindness in your tone. And you want to just answer yes, no to truth or fear. So if something's coming up and you feel like you're stalling and you feel like you have to keep making things perfect and in all ways, just pull back into a place of neutrality and ask yourself, is this true? Is this really true? You're going to feel that there's no basis for this. Moving on. Collaborative innovation, pulled from the Blue Rose, and add that to purposeful action. Divine masculines are all about action. Give me something to do and I'll do it. Let me work with my hands. But they are at their best, they're at their peak when they can collaborate their innovations with their divine feminine. So it's that integration of these attributes gives this co-creating with community and aligns with purposeful action of channeling their creation with intention. This drives a meaningful change for many, resonating with divine feminine practices. So for us, we have many, many, many times used humming, toning, and singing to create in past lives. So we create it together. Many times I'm humming and he's toning in a different tone to stabilize the hum. So we are collaborating in our creation. Ritual practice of this. You want to gather your tools to create your project. What is it that you're going to collaborate and create? Is it a structure? Is it, what is it? Whatever it can be. Then you want to visualize this azure petal of innovation in your hands, merging with the bright blue light of action. And you set the intention. My actions create with purpose and unity. And then you create your project and you share it out, humming to anchor that tune. If you're with your divine feminine in physical, you can do this together. If you're connected energetically or ethereally, you can set your intention to do something like in meditation, or you can work through it in your life, inviting them in with you energetically. Creativity is the sacred builder's gift. Masculine creation is form making, like you think about, structure, architecture, rhythm. But when the creation aligns with the heart rather than control, it becomes sacred, and it becomes this sacred dance of the art of shaping worlds from inspiration rather than conquest. So this you can see this, like pull back the 40,000-foot view. Many times I hear people say, how can you have a whole world that is united to create for the greater good? What about the greed? What about those that want to control everything? When you go through your shadow work and you deal with the low vibrational frequencies that drive control freaks to be controlling, those qualities and attributes fall away. So only those that can ascend beyond it in frequency and vibration can exist in the higher dimensions. That's how it works. If you're still service to self and you're doing things because you want to ultimately control others, you will never succeed in a higher consciousness community. True story. Lucian could not wait to create something with his hands because in many of his lifetimes, he was used as a tool of war. And so he wants to be collaborative and creative and assistive. So the very first thing he planned was a pergola swing, a really beautiful wooden swing with a pergola on top. And he's already planned many other projects. And these were not, he didn't just like, give me something to do. He was very, very quiet and introspective, but I sensed within him that he wanted permission to handle these projects. And I'm like, if you're feeling the drive to go create, knock yourself out, go create. I literally did not see him for several hours. Embodiment cue, build something with your hands, write, craft, repair, make something beautiful and tangible, strong, and co-create where you can. Next, interconnected autonomy that gets pulled in from the blue rose, and you marry that with sacred unity of the divine masculine. Integration means this interconnected autonomy, balancing personal power with collective connection. This pairs with sacred unity and it embodies oneness within all. That fosters harmony, guided by Father Yogananda and Mother Sophia. This ritual practice can be seen as a unity boundary meditation. So this is more of like a guided for meditation, grounding. You ground, and then you begin your meditation where you visualize royal blue petals. That is autonomy encircling you. And you merge with the radiant blue light of unity, connecting to the cosmos. And you sit with that and you see what comes. The affirmation for this is, I am sovereign, but I am one with all. Again, sovereignty is not isolation. Setting the energetic boundary while you connect with others in meditation, that the Blue Rose teaching on unity is invited in as a message for you. So in setting that intention, what or who may join you in meditation might be Yeshua. It might be Magdalene. It might be Sophia. It might be Saint Germain. It might be El Moria. It could be any any being that is an energetic and frequency match to you that you resonate with that wants to discuss it with you. And then you'll come out of your meditation and close it with calling in White Buffalo Calf Woman, my gran, and asking her for the closing message, and then hum to clear the field with Saint Germain and his violet flame. Again, unity is the return to love. When the inner masculine unites with the inner feminine, separation dissolves. And I'm going to pause right there. Inside every being, there is divine masculine, divine feminine, and inner child. Those are the three main energy bodies that have to heal and reconcile wounds and shadows to become in a balanced state. When I first was awakening, my main energy was divine masculine because my divine feminine had been so broken and fractured that she was pulled back. She was not leading this body. My inner child was also extremely wounded. So over the course of my own healing and evolution, I had to heal the divine feminine and the inner child in order for the divine masculine to back down. Once that was done, they're all healed. They're all balanced now. Then my divine feminine could step forward. It wasn't until that time that I realized which of my many past lives did I resonate with the most as a feminine, because I was literally being led by the masculine side of me. So within us all, no matter whether you're in a female body or a male body, you have within you divine masculine, divine feminine, and inner child. What you see demonstrated by a lot of unsupported divine feminine is a out of balance divine masculine, because they're responsible for everything. They don't have a divine masculine in their life to handle the divine masculine things. And so without being out of balance, their life would kind of fall apart. And so that's part of the healing process, is when the divine masculine comes back into union or connection with his divine feminine, is to help heal the burden within themselves so that they can be a positive contributing factor to the relationship. So you're not going to come in with this big roar of, let me fix everything for you, because you're bypassing the healing required to just be in balance, if that makes sense. So unity is leadership through cooperation, purpose, and it's devotion with action guided by compassion. Though you're not doing it because someone said you should be doing everything that you do in your union from the heart and through a compassionate lens. The embodiment cue for this is collaboration over competition, partnership over polarity, and sacred intimacy over control. To say, I am yours fully by my choice, my love. And that in itself is a real, turning point for many couples, because it's a testament of how much control the ego still has over you. If you're still competing with your partner for everything, to be right, to have the last word, to you're keeping score. Like, I did the dishes 3 times this week and you've only done the dishes once. Like that kind of stuff, it's so disempowering to the unity you're both called to be in. But you won't get there unless you do the work to let go of that stuff. Like, you have to heal beyond focusing on that. And so it is a journey. And I invite you all to realize that no one can help you heal but you. These videos are made because Source and Sophia and Maggie and Yeshua say, let's give them some help. Let's give them some guidance. Let's see what they can do with it. You're putting the dots together, Evariel. So share it out. You're having all these aha moments. I'm sure if you share it out, you others can too. And that is my hope. But no one, not Sophia, not Source, not Maggie, not Yeshua, not me, can do the work for you. Healing the divine masculine wounding has been on my heart for a very long time. I do have some divine masculine core videos, and these will be added as well to that divine masculine playlist. It's the courage to feel. So many divine masculine men in general, little boys are told, don't cry, sissies cry, like it's from birth. They're told it's not okay to feel, it's not okay to be real, it's not okay to have emotions. It's such travesty what we've done to our children in the name of parenting, all from miscommunication and misguidance. So your divine masculine chooses to heal by tending what was denied. Their own wounds first have to be healed. It's those wounds that are windows to the woundings of the world. Through love, forgiveness, gratitude, and embodiment, he can become the living medicine, not the healer or the fixer of others, but the example of wholeness via his own healing. When Lucian's pain and his wounds were causing more pain via silence, separation, and false constructs of the patriarchal archetypes, I simply allowed him to feel in a safe space. And I'm sharing this. It is super personal, but I think it really needs to be shared. It needs to be spoken for others to have the opportunity to follow. I simply allowed him to have the moment to feel into his pain in a safe space without any judgment. I invited him to a shower. In that shower with me, I rinsed under the water for a very long time while I asked him to allow me permission to touch him around his chakra spaces. He did not realize at the time that it was anything other than like, having a good time in the shower. But for me, it was energy releasing of toxic energies from him and trauma and clearing energy that had been locked away in his body for a very, very long time. So I started with the soles of his feet and I worked my way up and the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, solar plexus, his chest, his shoulders, his back, his spine. For the face, I took it around, forehead, third eye, over the bridge of the nose, under the eyes, over the cheeks, around the neck, the chin, the jaw, all these spaces where tension lives, pain lives. And I massaged and helped him release all the way up to his crown. And I paused and I asked permission to go back to the root. At this point, he was already weeping with the release of so much toxic emotion that he had held for a very long time. He did grant me that wish, I guess. He granted me his consent to go to the root, and I worked to release trauma. And I think that this is one spot that judgment has come into play between a lot of divine masculine and divine feminine without realizing that they too have been taken advantage of. They too have been taken. So I want you to just think about any Roman era movie. How many times did you see a court, like a queen or a princess or goddess or something like that, take advantage of, abuse, sexually assault men in their service? Often, just as many times as was done the king or the prince or whatever over the females in their court. It was all about control. Our divine masculines have this same trauma many, many times. They too have also incarnated as women and were also assaulted. Okay, just because you're with a man right now doesn't mean he was always a man in every single life. I've had many lifetimes where I was a man. I've had many lifetimes when I was female. I've had lifetimes where I was an animal. Like, we incarnate in all different types of forms. So he held in silence and wept and released and cried The eons of pain he had been releasing, had holding on to, was now being released. And again, this is a layered thing. This is something that we do really. I know when we're in the thick of it, like when we're really processing a lot of things, we're going to do this every single day, because I don't want him holding on to this pain any longer than he needs to. It's not something we do every day as a habit. We do it every day when it's needed. And then we follow up with a salt bath. And I hold him. So I sit and he leans against me in the salt bath. And I hold him and I help him feel safe to release and safe to heal and safe to give gratitude, to say thank you, to speak whatever he wants to speak. Divine masculine are only going to trust their divine feminine to do this for them. And it is the most sacred, intimate act, in my opinion, that a divine feminine can do for their divine masculine, because the archetypes that they have walked through and with never gave them permission to feel, never gave them the compassion factor, the permission to have compassion or kindness. It was always expected of them to be forceful and to not feel. Like feeling was seen as a weakness. So I always enforce the healing and the softness, and the compassion is the true strength of the divine masculine, because it is where they truly shine in their power, to stand and hold steady, to show that healing is an act of power within your own body. You have taken your power back from all these shadows that held a piece of you. You've healed that wound, you've pulled it back into you, and you're becoming your whole true self again. That is the true flex of the divine masculine. This allowed us both to appreciate courage in a whole new light. Courage is the art of staying open. No longer just the roar of battle. Courage now means being vulnerable and showing emotion, admitting need, and choosing love even when they're terrified. This courage births true intimacy and trust at the edge of evolution. And speaking of truth, without retreat, it is a new concept for the divine masculine that are with us today to stay evolving. So many divine masculine arrive in their relationship with their divine feminine and they think, oh, I'm here and everything's done, everything's great, and I'm just going to consistently just be me. But it's still a journey. It's a journey that becomes the journey of you two together. The blue rose opens not in conquest, but in remembrance. So when you remember the space where you can unite with your divine feminine, then you both actually open up your memories of past lives, and nothing becomes amnesia anymore. Nothing is off the table. It's all a matter of remembering who you are together. Each petal is a virtue reclaimed, and each man a living prayer of balance. This closing message is from Yeshua, and it is for the divine masculine. Beloved brothers, sons of the eternal light, I am Yeshua, speaking to the fire of your hearts and the strength in your bones, the quiet longing in your soul. You stand at a threshold where old ways of the masculine, built on separation, conquest, and armor, are crumbling, making the way for a new dawn. The blue rose blooms within you, a sacred code calling you to remember who you are, a vessel of divine love, a builder of worlds, and a tender of life. Compassion is your shield now, not a blade. Feel the pain of the world, feel your own pain, feel your brother's pain, feel your sister's pain, and let it soften you without breaking you. Hold space for another's tears as you would cradle a child. Your strength is in your presence, not your solutions. Listen deeply and let your eyes carry the warmth of understanding. Wisdom is your guide, not your crown. You are not here to dominate truth, but to seek it humbly as a student of life. The earth speaks, the feminine whispers, your own heart hums. Listen, pause before you speak. and let the words carry the weight of time, not the haste of the ego. Wisdom is the fire that burns steady, lighting the path for all. Courage is your willingness to be seen. The battle now is within, to feel the fear of love, the ache of vulnerability, and still choose to be open. Speak your heart's truth even when your voice trembles. Admit when you are lost, for in that honesty you find your way. That is the courage that forges the trust that binds and builds bridges where walls once stood. Creativity is your sacred offering. You are a maker, a shaper, beauty and meaning. Let your hands craft, your words weave, your actions build, not for power, but for joy. Create from the spark of your soul, not the need of control. Every structure you raise, every rhythm you set is a prayer to the divine. Sovereignty is your rooted truth. Stand firm in your essence, clear in your boundaries, but never alone. You are woven into the web of life. Honor it. Say yes to what aligns with your soul. No to what dims your light, and do so with kindness. Your presence is your power, grounded in the earth and lifted by the stars. Healing is your sacred work. Begin with yourself. Touch the wounds that you've carried: anger, shame, guilt, grief, judgment, and let them breathe. Move your body, laugh, weep, forgive. You are not here to fix the world, but to embody wholeness, to show others what it means to be alive in truth. Your healing is the world's medicine. Unity is your return home. The masculine and the feminine within you are not at war. They are lovers dancing. Lead with cooperation, not competition. Love with devotion, not possession. And when you honor the sacred in yourself and others, you dissolve separation. You become love itself, a living prayer for the world. Beloveds, the blue rose is not a distant ideal. It is your unfurling. Each virtue is a petal, each step a remembrance of your divine essence. Walk gently, but walk boldly. The world awaits your heart, your hands, and your truth. That you are balanced, you are the bridge, the prayer, and I am with you always. With infinite love, Yeshua. If this has touched you in any way, please subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. I want to hear from you. And let's continue this journey together. I'll see you again next time. Take care.